What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Scores Table podcast again. We got another great guest, another legendary Syracuse basketball player, and my former teammate, Paul Harris. Paul, what's going on, man?
D, what's up, man?
Man,
Glad
appreciate
to be
you
on
coming.
with you, man.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Taking your time. I know everybody busy, especially with stuff going on.
No. You hit me up, man. I was like, yo, I'm with it. You set the date, man. I'm on there.
All good. So look, man, we gonna get right into it. But I want to start kind of going back to your early years. Talk about growing up in Niagara Falls. How that kind of shaped you as a person, but how it shaped you as a basketball player. Just tell me about the early years growing up, and you got a great story, man. You overcame a lot of adversity, and obviously now you're doing great things. But just talk about growing up in Niagara Falls in your early years.
Yeah, I mean, Niagara Falls is a small town. Some people can call it a village. It's so small. I mean, everybody knows everybody, and I found the love for basketball at an early age. My dad put the ball in my hand. I was like 7, and that was my first love, and just worked hard, and was getting some offers as I got older, and next thing you know, I ended up at the Cuse, man.
So tell me about your high school team a little bit, because I remember seeing you a couple times, man. I remember when I was at Oak Hill, we ran into you. We didn't play against you guys, but I remember seeing you play against other teams, and you guys had at least, I want to say 5 or 6 other D1 guys on your team, or maybe a couple less. Obviously Johnny Flynn and my man who went to UMass and Robert Garrison. So tell me about that team, man, and how that kind of helps you propel onto the national scene, because for a public school, you guys are ranked number 3 in the nation. You know what I mean? And like you usually see in schools like, IMG or Oak Hill ranked in the top. You know what I mean? You don't really see a lot of public schools. So talk to me about that team and, all the success you guys had.
Yeah, I mean, I got a funny story, man. I mean, I only played 2 years of high school. I mean, 9th grade, for whatever it was, I was ineligible. 10th grade, ineligible again. And then finally, I went playing AAU, and I was at ABCD camp. I know somebody like you remember ABC. I remember you there as well.
Yeah.
And I came back, and I was ranked, and our school got a lot of national attention. And I seen the players that we had on our team, as you said, like Johnny, Tyrell Lynch, I seen we had the talent, and I just kept everybody close, man. I mean, nowadays you see guys playing on different AAU teams over here. I'm like, nah, man, if we all can't be on one team, I told my AAU coach, if they all can't play on the same team, I can't play no more. So I just kept us all close, and we got that bond together and went into that season. And our coach, we played a national schedule. So that means like we played ranked team, went to high tournaments, and we started beating a lot of teams early. So we caught the eye of a lot of people. And next thing you know, man, we finished, like you said, ranked number 3 in the country. I think I remember you down there. E, was it in New Jersey or something?
It was in Jersey, bro, because we played.
Yeah.
We played Derek Carrick, who I'll get to DC in a minute, because you played with him at Notre Dame Prep. But we ended up, bro, you played before us, and I forget, you guys might have lost by like 2.
Yeah, we played the number 1 team for Sean.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
From St. Louis.
Number 1 team. Yep.
From St. Louis. And we I remember watching you guys, and we played after you guys the next day. We beat DC and them by 48.
Yeah, I remember y'all for sure. Right.
No, I remember. But hey, bro, one thing that I do remember that is funny that you said, talked about AAU, and first of all, you didn't play 9th or 10th, and then to be able to come on a scene like that shows what type of player you was, bro. Because not a lot of people are able to do that in 2 years or less. Make a name for yourself. You was able to do that, like you said, with the ABCD camp coming on the scene. I remember you being there. And they're like, man, look at this guy with the braids over there. Looked like a linebacker out there handling the ball at the point guard position. Never saw that before growing up, bro. Like it was you were on a different level. Like I remember you going against OJ Mayo, and I think Derek Character was there. Talk about that experience, and then also we'll talk about the AAU after that. But talk about that experience at ABDC camp and kind of how that opened your eyes up to the basketball scene, because you're from Niagara Falls. It's not a big city. You know what I mean? So when you get out on that scene at the ABCD camp, it's the best in the country. You know what I mean? And you excelled on that level. Talk about that experience.
Yeah. I actually had my AAU team was sponsored by I don't want to say the brand, but a different brand than ABCD. And at that time, if you're one of the top players on that circuit, you have to go to that camp. But I knew at that time OJ Mayo was considered the best player in the country. He was on every magazine. He had all the hype. So I had to make a decision. Do I go with my AAU team and, keep our sponsorship, or do I risk that and chase my dream of being able to play against the best player in the country and just see what I'm really about? So I got to camp 3 days late. I missed 3 days of camp, and I went down. I'm like, I told my AAU coach, like, man, listen, I was in jeopardy of our sponsorship. I went there, chased my dream. I remember Sonny Vaccaro, he set the game up. ABCD got all like 8 different courts, but when it's a big game, they put you in the middle. So they put our game right in the middle, and he went 1 for 10, man. And that like put me on a different level. I just remember that took me from like top 15 to like top 5. And then I had an interview with somebody really powerful. It was like, you can be the first player to challenge the high school, going from high school to the league, because they stopped it. Yes. They stopped it. But I would have been 19 and 1 year removed from high school if I went to prep. And they're like, I will push you and I'll be backing you, and you can go from out of high school. I'm like, man, I always wanted to go to the Qs. I'm like, nah, man, I'm going to the Qs, man.
So talk about that real quick, because you went to Notre Dame prep, and then that year when you played with Derek Character, who else you played with? What other guys?
Lazar Haywood,
Marquette.
I forget. It was like, it was so many. I forgot, man. It was like we at least had like 9, 10 D1 guys. We finished number 1 in the country in prep school as well at Notre Dame.
Right. Yeah, like those type of schools we're talking about, Oak Hill, Notre Dame, all those schools, they're all D1 guys. And it's funny that you said that, because you were one of those guys. If they didn't change the rule to where you couldn't leave out of high school, you would have left out of high school. You would have been a first round draft pick. That's how it was going, with all that hype you had going and how you came onto the scene. I mean, you were a first round pick, man. How did you feel about that, when they changed the rule? Were you ever kind of leaning towards going if they wouldn't have changed the rule? What were you thinking?
Well, I remember like that summer, Danny Ainge, he used to be at all my games. And this is when he was, I think he might have still been with Boston. I'm not sure. But he was at all my games. Like every game I was playing, he was there, like scouting me. And, I was hearing buzz that, I could go. There was like, he's not a great shooter, but his body's NBA body ready, all of that. But honestly, like, I never really like 100% wanted to do that. I always wanted to go to Cuse, and it's a lot of reasons why I chose Cuse. Like a lot of people were like, you being one of the best defender, if not the best defender in high school, in Syracuse plays zone. So why Syracuse? I'm like, first of all, why not Syracuse? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean, why not? And a couple of things played into that. Just being close to home. I got a big family, a lot of friends. So family being able to come to the game, that's one reason. And just seeing Coach, Coach chill, how Coach is on my visit, how he was. And coming to GMAC last home game, that was like I never seen nothing like that ever, Seeing like, it was like 34, 30, whatever it was, man. Thousands of people there. And it's like, I want to play here. But probably the main thing, that really, and Melo, you know what I'm saying? Melo going to the Cuse, leading to the chip, that was a big factor. But the main thing probably was Hop, I mean, Hop, he's the best recruiter that I have ever seen, man. I'm talking about he was just at every game I played. Like I would do a move and Hop would be on the floor. You know what I'm saying? This
Yeah.
at the Cuse and he's on the floor like, oh, that guy right there, number 11. Oh, he's coming to Cuse. That's how Hop was. And it was just like, man, he just always showed so much love, man. I just, I had to go there, man. And,
No question. Hop, one of a kind. I had Hop on. I think it was the second episode we had on the podcast. Bro, his energy just nothing changed. Right when you come on, this is where he at.
Yeah,
this like
nobody's Hop, and Hop's one of a kind, man. One of a kind. You know that.
Oh, bro, he's the best. He's a loyal dude. He's gonna be there for you. So you talked about Notre Dame prep. After Notre Dame prep, you played in a couple All-American games. You played in the Jordan Brand Classic with KD. Tell me about that experience going out of Notre Dame prep, playing in the All-American games, and then starting that process going into college. Because I did hear, besides Cuse, I heard that you almost went to Ohio State too, and then that's when they had Greg Oden, Mike Conley, DeQuan Cook. That was kind of going to be like the Fab Five. Yeah, exactly. Talk about that. How you almost talk about those experiences, playing in that, and then leading up into those recruitments.
Wow, I can't believe you know your history on that, E.
Come on, man.
I never really even talked about that much, though. You know that? But
P, I can't just come on here and just be like, you know what I mean?
No, I got.
I gotta know my stuff, man.
Yeah, but Ohio State was making a real push, and it was Greg Odom, Mike Conley, DeQuan Cook, David Lively, and it was going to be me. They wanted to be the new Fab Five.
Yeah.
They was on their way to like Buffalo, and I'm like, yo, I didn't show up. I'm like, yo, I'm going to the Cuse. I have never taken an official visit to no other school because I didn't want, you know what I'm saying? I know how I am. I'm a Libra. I want to balance the scale. I may think about it. I'm like, if I go, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, I don't want to even deal with it. I'm just strictly going to the Cuse, and that's just what it was, man. And the Jordan Classic, I actually was the only top 10 player ever to not make the McDonald's, ever. Yeah, that was like, I was the only one ever. It was like a real big story, man. So that kind of hurt me not being a McDonald's All-American. They was just saying, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I had braids, tats, so they just, I don't know. They was just making excuses for me. But the Jordan Classic, that was one of the best, like, all-star games I've ever been in, just on the simple fact that you got the greatest Michael Jordan, just talking to you, giving you speeches. One of the things I always tell kids, everywhere I go, that one thing that stick to me, what Michael Jordan said is, you get out what you put in. You put the time in, you put the work in, the results will come. You may not make the NBA, but you will get better and you'll see the results. So that stuck with me at a young age.
No, absolutely, Paul. And just kind of piggybacking off what you said just now, I think I could see the maturation in you as a person, as a father. And like you said, you may not make it to the NBA, but all those experiences help you out, man, as a person. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what it's about. It's about growing as a person, getting better, and then, helping all the people around you and from what you learn. So I definitely see that for sure. Let's talk about going to Cuse, man, because you had some high expectations coming in. On some publications, you were National Freshman of the Year. On most of them, you were, Big East Freshman of the Year. How hard was that for you coming in, with all those expectations? I mean, before you even step foot on campus, you're on ESPN, you're on the magazines, and that's a lot. You know what I mean? You're, like we said, you come from a small city, so it's not like you're used to a lot of that. Maybe more so, you got used to it when you started playing, ABC camps and things like that. But we're talking Syracuse big time basketball, man. How did you handle those expectations coming in?
Yeah, as you said, somebody had told me this is recent that it's like, yeah, I seen that you were blue ribbon freshman of the year over Kevin Durant and Greg Odom. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. But I feel like, to some people, I'm not gonna lie, some people I feel like I didn't reach my full potential at Cuse. I kind of was, in some people's eyes, maybe failed. But I never really like trying to exceed other people's expectations. I'd like to just set my own and go from there. But I do feel like, I wasn't always focused at Cuse. You know what I mean? And I don't really blame nobody. I take full responsibility. But sometimes I try to tell people, like, I had a big entourage, having 20 people at the game, and people don't understand the effects that have on you. What I mean by that is, like, say you playing Georgetown, and you get 4 tickets, right? Unless you might get a couple of tickets from a walk-on or somebody don't use their tickets. Say I get 6, but I got, like, my uncle, 3 friends. I got 10 people. I play at 12 o'clock the next day on ESPN. But I'm up to like 3 in the morning trying to figure out who do I say no to, because I only got 6 tickets, but I got 12, 13 people. So, like, some of that stuff behind the scenes, played a part, not to make no excuses. So that's why I try to tell, kids at an early age, you don't need to, not saying that you don't love certain people, but, the smaller you keep it, the more locked in and focused you'll be.
And I think that you touched on it earlier, bro. Like, those are the experiences you went through, and those are what made you the person you are now. What's some advice you would give to your younger self on how to deal with that type of stuff?
Well, to my younger self, I would just say, it's a great question, E. I would just say, make more sacrifice, man. I wanted to be home so much. So I was going home, and, it could be practicing, rushing back just to make practice on time, like certain stuff. Like, I'm an honest person, so, I like to just tell the truth. And it's like some of those things, I sat there and I watched my roommate, I watched Johnny, stay home. Stay at the Cuse and work out extra. But I seen me, and sometimes, I was so used to just being home, and you know what I mean? That's just wasn't what it should have been. It should have been like, it should have just been straight school and ball. And if anybody wanted to see me, they come near to me, and that's it. That's how it should have been,
Yeah, absolutely. But we all go through things, and we can look back and be like, I would have did this different. But again, that shaped us to who we are now. You know what I mean? And we need all those. We need that adversity, from the young age to now. If we didn't have any adversity, then what would we do? You know what I mean? We wouldn't learn from anything. It would just be like a straight line. You know what I mean? We need these. We need those jagged edges to be able to, figure out what our journey and what our passion really is. So let's talk about, fast forward a little bit as your career progressed.
No, wait a minute. Yeah, I want to
go ahead.
So after the Cuse, after the Cuse, I leave a year early. So I have another year. I leave a year early, and I have some great workouts. Have a great NBA workouts, and I remember being home, and one of my cousins like, okay, where the draft party gonna be at? So I'm saying in my head, like, yo, I know that there's a big, big chance that I won't get drafted. I know, but my family, you can't tell them that. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, Digga, Paul, he's the best thing in the world. It doesn't matter that. So I tell them, yeah, okay, yeah, we have it at my mom's house, whatever. So I don't show up, E. I don't show up, party at my mom. I don't show up. I get a hotel by myself. And I just remember watching the draft, and I didn't get drafted first round. I'm like, okay, I knew that probably wasn't going to happen. So maybe second round could happen. And I just remember, like, the first 20 picks in the second round, I don't get drafted. I turn the TV off. So I turn the TV off, and I got my phone turned up, and I wait like 25 minutes. And I'm like, yo, I don't got no text messages, no missed calls. I just knew that, like, my cousin Dex was going to be like, yo, we in Phoenix, yo, we in New York, something like that. but I don't get that text message. So I turn the TV on and I wait for it to come back around, and I see I didn't get drafted. So I said my prayers, but the first thing I thought about was my dad, because I can take adversity, fall. I can take it. I can deal with it. I know me. I'll make it through. But I know how my dad is. He take things a little bit more harder. So I thought about him, man. And I rushed to my dad's house, man. And my dad lived on the second floor. And I knocked on the door. And I remember him opening his window, man. He was like, "Who the F is at my door?" And I'm like, "Daddy, it's Digger." So it got quiet. In like 2 seconds, he opened the door, and he just started crying in my shoulder, man. It was like, that was the first time I ever seen my dad cry, man. And he was just like, "Yo, what we gonna do, son? Like, you know what I mean? They didn't draft my son. What we gonna do, buddy?" And I'm like, "Dad," I'm like, "Pick your head up. What you mean? I gotta get better. That's all. I just put more work in. It ain't over. What you mean?" And then he, like, you could see like life just jump back into him. And then I just told him and my other 2 best friends, I'm like, "I'm gonna pick y'all up tomorrow at 7. We go shoot." And I came to pick my dad up at like 7. He said, "I've been outside since 5 in the morning waiting." And they just rebounded for me, man. They didn't say a word, man. I just told them after that, like, y'all hold your head high, man. Be proud of the things I have accomplished, things I have done, and the things that I'm gonna do. It don't stop here. You know what I mean? Not at all. So for anybody out there that have to go through something like that or went through something like, it's like, nah, man, it's how you bounce back. You know what I'm saying? How you still believe in yourself, how you keep going. No, so it felt like sharing that.
No, bro, man, I appreciate that. And it sounds like to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, but you were not only to your family, but to your town and your community, you were a big thing. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not easy to handle. You know what I'm saying? Especially, when you're getting ready for the NBA draft, you don't get drafted. You know what I mean? Now you feel like you may, in your head, you might feel like you let your family down or you let your community down, because not a lot of people are doing those type of things. But you got to think about even getting to that level, P. Like, think about this, man. It's 1% of people that even get to play Division I basketball. And not only did you play, but you were a top 10 recruit in an All-American, a high school All-American, went to one of the best universities of all time. Tell me, what would you say, obviously you said a lot just now, but what would you say to somebody who was in that position, similar to you? Like, how did you handle that, bro? Like, after that, you kind of touched on it, but really kind of dig a little bit deeper for me and tell me how you really handled that. And like, when you have those moments by yourself, what were you thinking? Like, man, what am I going to do? Because I've had them, bro. Like, I was the same draft as you. I didn't get drafted. I remember being in a hotel room in New York City by myself, like, damn, because, bro, like, this is what we did our whole life, right? Like, a lot of people put it like it's either hoop or what we going to do. Like, we like, now, obviously, we know we're much more than basketball players. But at that time, what were we thinking, P? Like, this is what, if I don't got ball, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? So tell me a little bit about more that how that pressure, was for you of having that community on your back, and what would you, tell somebody who's kind of going through that same situation?
Well, I always, I grew up, in the church with my grandma. So I always have faith. You know what I'm saying? I always, like, I'm not saying like I go to church right now every Sunday, but I always say my prayers. I always was a person that believed and always kept my faith. And so I always been mentally strong and mentally tough. So, and I prepared myself for it already. You know what I mean? I wasn't that person like, yo, I know I'm finna be top 10. Like, no, I'm like, yo, you know what? You leaving the year early. You know what I'm saying? They telling you may not get picked. So I'm already preparing myself for all of this. And I'm the type of person that I always, I hope and pray for the best, but I prepare myself for the worst just in case. So I was already mentally in that space. Like, if it don't happen, all right, yo, that's just going to light a fire under me. And it made me have a different type of work ethic. And what it did was, to be honest with you, it seemed like it was like the worst thing at the time, but I felt like what happened, God sent me across the world, man. He sent me to the Philippines. Like, I never even knew where the Philippines were. I never, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know nothing about the Philippines. So he sent me there, and it was like the people, the culture there, man, they poured so much life into me. They cared about like how I played, how I practiced. They loved everything. I didn't have to deal with nothing. It was just me, my wife, my son at the time. It was like, you know what I'm saying? I just hooped and was home, practice. That's it. I didn't have to worry about nothing else. And that's what he just took me there and just gave me like so much life back, man. And I never would have thought that would have happened going over there way across the world. And it did, man. And it really, those people really helped me.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, we got to look at that blessing and, you know, in something that may not be as positive as we think, right? I mean, that, you know, you not getting drafted, you know, obviously something that you didn't want, but, you know, it ended up bringing to a whole different experience. Like, come on, you got to see a lot of the world. So we always got to look at the positives and, you know, and everything. Let's go back. We'll rewind a little bit. I want to talk about the 6OT game, and I'm gonna name a couple stats off for you, and I'm sure you know these by heart. 56 minutes, 29 points, 22 rebounds. I mean, talk about that game, man. Like, you know, in your mind, what do you remember? You know, obviously, we had some unbelievable moments in that game. You know, what were you thinking after the game? And you know, the next day, we had to play West Virginia. We went to overtime. So
people don't know about that.
Right.
No,
tell me about that 6OT.
What I really remember, I just remember throwing you the pass.
Yeah.
You catching that joint, turned around, and you on the scores table. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's the legendary moment for real. That's like, yo, that's what sparked it all. If they count that, you know what I'm saying? This is nothing. You know what I'm saying? If they have no instant replay, none of that, like, that's good. And we never talk about this. So that's one thing I remember. Another thing I remember, I missed a lot of layups to get 22 boards too, behind. I remember coach was killing me in the interview, like, yeah, Paul was smart enough to miss the dunk and then get it back and get an and one. But no, man, I mean, that was just like, man, we was just exhausted to come out on top. I think a game like that, it really was nobody lost, man. I really feel like both teams won. That was.
Oh no, UConn lost, bro. Shit.
My bad. Okay, E, my bad. I'm sorry, E. My bad. You know what? My fault. You're right. Cuse won. UConn lost. You're right, E. My bad. But yeah, that was just like, man, that was. I don't even know what to say, man. That was. I remember one time. I was in Chicago working out. Me and Johnny was working out in Chicago at Attack. So this is like, we getting ready to go to McDonald's at like 10 at night. So we getting ready to go to McDonald's. And the game was on, but it was like on the second OT. So we like, yo, let's just, we laughing. Next, you know, it was like an hour and 30 minutes later, we still watching this joint, like, yo. And we just finished the whole joint. I remember that happened. Like, that's like the only time I think I probably ever have watched that. For real, like, because I don't know if I could sit down and watch a 3.5 hour game like that. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, and what people don't really know is that we went to overtime the next day as well, yo. Yeah. And I just remember like Brad bringing all the ice, filling all of our tubs up with ice at nighttime after the game. Yeah, the whole sports center was about us. Like everything was about us. I remember Mello and Brian had text Johnny after the game. I'm like, yep, Johnny's out of here after this. He's gone. He's gone after this joint.
Yo, if Mello and Brian texted you, you probably out of there.
Yeah. It was a wrap. But no, man, that's just legendary. That's just legendary, man.
No, I remember after the game, bro, me and AO, I think we went to a little diner joint right across the street. It had to be, I mean, you know, by the time.
Yeah, I think we went to McDonald's. I think it was just McDonald's and like pizza. I don't think it was.
Because it was shit. It was damn near 3 a.m. You figure the game.
It wasn't nothing really open.
But you know, it was New York City, so you're gonna find you something.
Yeah,
but we get done at 1:30. You know, we and the coach talk, and then we got the interviews, then we shower, and so it's gonna be another hour and a half before we get out. I remember getting back to from the diner, the hotel had to be 3:30, 4 o'clock, something like that. And then, like you said, Brad getting all the ice, putting it in our tub.
Yep, everybody had to take an ice bath. It was just like, how many minutes you played in the E?
Shit,
Was you in the 60s?
I think I played because look, I followed out in the fourth overtime, but I played like 55 or something.
But the thing about it is, coach, I was getting benched the game on the low though. People don't early. I'm telling you, like Christoph was playing, and coach wasn't rocking with me for some reason. I'm gonna tell you. So I just remember like, I was fresh for like the rest of the OTs. That's when I like started scoring and rebounding like through the rest of the OTs. If you really go back and watch the game, coaches and people always be like, did coach like me? Like, what like people still now be asking like, hey, what happened with you and Boeheim? And like some of my family, they feel that way too. But I'm like, it never was nothing between me and coach. I feel like coach was hard on me, especially my sophomore year, because me and you was one of the older ones, and you had ended up getting hurt. Andy got hurt. So he was on me harder than anybody. And I think he felt like where I came from and how I grew up that I can handle it. Right. So I never took nothing that coach used to say or yell at me. I never took it personal. But people outside, like some of my family, they felt like, nah, coach don't like you. Why he yell at you? He don't yell at Eric like that. I'm like, nah, man, it ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? He just telling me, you know what I'm saying, not to shoot threes, because I came in as a freshman. I was 1 for 20. I shot 5% from three. So he trying to tell me, take it in, shoot mid-range, Paul, until you be able to develop that shot. And I came back next year. I think I might have shot 32 or 33%. I remember I was leading the team, but you and Andy, y'all wasn't there. So it was like I was, so you know what I'm saying? It really didn't count. You know what I'm saying? Our best shooters wasn't there, but I was like shooting like 36% or something early in the year. And Hop was like, hey, Doug, take this and go show coach this is percentage. So I showed coach, he reading it. He like, yeah, finish the season off like that then, Paul. That's a constant. No, man, but I love coach, man. I love coach, man. Him and Miss Boeheim, man. I love them both, man. And I know coach loved me as well, man. It's just coach was just harder on me, and that's just what it was, man.
Yeah, bro. I remember coach always said it was funny because when I played and then when I was on staff, he would say the same thing. If you can't make it in practice, you're not going to shoot it in the game.
I remember he came in. I don't know if you remember this, E. We was in Jersey at Rutgers. So we was at Rutgers, and he came in. It was at halftime. This is I was a freshman. He like, I'm saying this in front of the whole team. If Paul Harris shoots another three, he will not play again. He said, so I remember this was Big East tournament. So bam, I go like 2-3 games. Yeah, I'm shooting no threes, nothing. Bob. Next thing you know, we play Notre Dame. So we play Notre Dame in the dome, and when Notre Dame come, his pride was 30 plus. So Bob, I remember Luke Herringoldy was guarding me, and he was in the paint. How they guard Rondo. And he was like, shoot it. So I'm like, what? He said, yeah, shoot it. I'm like, man, I fired it. I'm like, he can't be doing that to me. So as I'm releasing the ball, right, I'm looking at coaches going back, get ready. He just getting ready to grab anybody he can, get me out, right? But tell me, but why? Tell me why the ball bounced back to me. So it comes back, and I'm already seeing whoever it is, they coming. I'm like, if I hit this one, he might just change his mind. So I'm like, I shoot the next one. I tell you why I missed it. So coach, it was like a timeout or something. He meets me at half court. I just like, I didn't even hear him. I go straight to the end of the bench. I think I might have sat down there like with the ball boys like on the ground. Like I knew it was a wrap, man. I'm like, I'm done for the rest of the day,
that. Man, bro, I had it's so many stories that we could talk about, bro. I want to let's talk about Hop a little bit, man, because you talked about it earlier about how you guys had a real tight relationship. Tell me what Hop meant to you, And what did you learn from Hop? What did you take from him and you know, his energy and his positiveness? What did that, you know, translate to you?
Well, one of the things I learned, you know, everybody know Hop energy, but I don't know if everybody know Hop personally. So, I mean, one thing that I always remember about Hop is if he's with you, he care about you, he's gonna give his all, he's gonna love you, he's gonna be there for you unconditionally, no matter what. And I just remember as either my freshman, or it might have been my freshman year, and we were like in the summer, no, freshman going into my sophomore year, something like that. So Hop was coming. I was just learning, getting a work ethic on shooting. And Hop used to come knock on my door every morning. And I remember he came to I already did like 2 days in a row. So I'm tired, E. You know what I'm saying? I ain't developed the legs and the arm memory yet. So Hop knocked on my door early. I'm like, I don't get out the bed, right? So he's knocking. Next thing you know, he stopped. So he stopped for like 5 minutes. So I'm like, oh yes, he left. The next, you know, he knock again. Dugga, I know you're in there and I'm not leaving. I got your pancakes right here. They're getting cold. Whenever you're ready, open the door and let's go shoot. I'm like, damn, Hop. So I open the door, man. I don't say nothing to him, man. He come in, he give me the pancakes. I eat, then we go shoot. It was like, man, he always was there for you, man. There was a lot of times he came to Buffalo for me. Like I really genuinely love Hop, man. He was really like a good dude, and I'm glad to see he's doing great as a head coach right now. I already knew he was going to be great.
Yeah, give me a crazy Hop story, like, because we got plenty of them, but give me one from either practice or the game where you where it just made you like, damn, this dude crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me one of those.
Nah, I mean, I have seen Hop be ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? In certain drills, you know what I'm saying? He'll push you to that level.
Yeah.
Was like, yo, where it's about to be fist blown. That's just how much he just cared, man. Like he's one of those people that really care about you and want to see you get better. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing that he would do for our stand after coming early. Like nothing Hop would do for you, man. He would do it all, man. It was just, you know, Hop, he's the best, man. Like for real. That's just he's in my favorite, man. He's in my top 5 coaches, like Coach Boeheim, Hop, Coach K, Calipari. You know what I'm saying? Those are like my top coaches that I like, man. And we had a great coaching staff, man. We had like Murph. We had a really cute staff. It was a great staff, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, that's kind of like, that's what you need, right? Like you're a coach, but like you got to know that as a player, like your coach is messing with you, and it is more than basketball, because a lot of times you be like, oh, you just hear like, I need you to play good, but do you really love me as a person? Do you care about me getting better? Because not everybody make it to the NBA, right? So
Sure.
I want to feel like when I'm done playing here, when I'm done playing basketball, I can still talk to you. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, even nowadays that's missing, man. And Hop was just like a breath of fresh air, man, because, you know, he's the same guy when we was 18, 19, 20 years old. You know what I mean? If you talk to him now, he got the same energy and he's going to be, you know, asking the same type of questions. So, I mean, you hit it on the head with that one.
That's like, you know, like the great motivators. That's just like in parenting. You got to know, like, okay, the principles, the morals, the integrity, all of that's the same. That you know, everybody have to follow by that. But you have to understand and know different players, and just like your child. Like I can't speak to this certain child the way I speak to this one, because one of them might curl up and to a ball and just go away, and you know what I'm saying, now they had that blockage towards you. And then the other person, you know, I can say this, I can push this type of button to get them going. And Hop knew certain people, you know what I'm saying? He knew like what to get me going, what ticks me. You know what I'm saying? He would come to me with Terrence Williams and Sam Young stats. You know what I'm saying? Just right next to me, we sitting before practice. Yeah, Terrence Williams had 28. You know what I'm saying? Because he know how I am. Okay, that's somebody who plays the same position as me in the Big East. All right, you know what I'm saying? That's going to fire me up. That's the type of mind games and things that Hop would do. And you know what I'm saying? And I just always admire that from Hop.
And that's funny because I had GMAC on last episode. In my freshman year, his GMAC senior year, he talked about what Hop did. And the same thing you said about him bringing out other people's stats. So what he did one time with GMAC is before practice, he put a tape for a three-point line at 2 spots. One of them was it said on the tape, JJ Redick's range, and it was deep. And then the other one was closer in, and it said GMAC's range. You know what I'm saying? So when he came back on the court, he saw that, and he was like, man, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But that's just Hop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's great motivators. They figure out ways to push different buttons to get the best out of you, right?
You're right. That's just a typical Hop, man, that I know. You know, that don't surprise me, man. It don't surprise me at all.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Coach Boeheim a little bit. You know, we talked about him a little bit in you know, what he meant to you, but what did you learn from Coach? You know what I mean, playing playing under him for all those years. And give me a Coach Boeheim story, man. Give me, because I've been in that huddle and I know some of them. Give me a Coach Boeheim story.
Well, I'll give you a hit home closer Boeheim story to me that like it sealed the deal for me. This is when I was committed my senior year, and I had lost one of my teammates. He passed after the game, and so we was in Niagara Falls and we was at his family house, and next thing you know, like Boeheim shows up and he's at the house with the parents. You know, he's staying with us. He's there for a couple hours, and it was just like, you know, just to see that, man, I was like, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it was no doubt in my mind I'm going to Cuse like that. He just showed me, like, you know, it was more than basketball at that time. And I always just remembered that about Coach, and I never forgot that. And that was just one of those moments where it was like, yo, I have even more respect for Boeheim. You know, so I always, you know, you can get into a lot of the different stories on the court, you know, how he motivates and how he do this. But that one right there was something that just hit home, and that would never leave me, that I remember what Coach did.
Yeah, and just what we kind of touched on, talking about, you know, more than basketball, right? You know, caring about you as a person. And I know Coach wasn't a guy who said a lot to you. You know, obviously, if he said a lot, it would have been on the court, right? But I think for a guy, you know, in his position, especially a Hall of Fame coach, for him just to, you know, go out of his way, because he didn't have to do that, but for him to do that, it showed a lot of character and what type of person he was, for sure.
No, it definitely did. Definitely.
So listen to these stats, bro. Now you talk now look, you talked about maybe I failed, and trust me, bro, you didn't fail. If anything, you had I think you were underrated with your career and the numbers you had, and I'm gonna tell you these numbers right here. So you had
I don't even know these numbers too. You know, I'm being honest, I really don't even know like final stats. Like, I know the 6 overtime, 29. I know that, but like final stats, I don't know them. I really don't.
So
really
look,
don't.
this is your career stats, bro. And
Okay.
this isn't, I don't have the exact, but it's over 1,200 points. And this is in 3 years. You did 3 years. You had another year. So over 1,200 points, 800 rebounds, over 200 assists, and 125 steals. And you know what they called you? You know, you used to have Do It All Paul, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's like, bro, like that's Do It All Paul right there. You know what I'm saying? Like 1,200 points, over 1,200 points. It was closer to 1,300, I believe. 800 rebounds, over 200 assists. You were really playing 3-4, like, you know, like to get those numbers from where you were playing out on the court, bro, is pretty unbelievable. Tell me what, you know, playing for the Cuse meant to you, playing in front of those fans, having those numbers, like I said, underrated, if you ask me. You know, what did that mean to you, you know, to have that type of career in the Cuse, being close to home, playing in front of those fans? You talked about it a little bit, playing in front of them.
Now, first of all, I'll say the fans. I mean, I've been all over the world and everywhere. You know what I mean? You travel in the United States, going to away games. I don't care what nobody say. I don't want to hear nothing about no other school. There's no fans like the Cuse fans. I just remember we played South Florida. Do you remember we played South Florida, E? And And I was like next to coach, and he was like, yeah, wow.
Bro.
It was more Cuse fans than South Florida fans. I'm like, yo, this is just, and we way in Florida. I'm like, yo, this is crazy, man.
So which year was this South Florida? Because was it the year I was hurt, or was it the year?
Oh, I don't. That's
because remember. So we'll save this story for another time. But remember that year that I was hurt and I went to South Florida, and I ended up going with my man. Yeah, I went with my man who played for Tampa Bay at the time, Tenard Jackson, who went to Syracuse. And
I got you.
Yeah, bro. I didn't even go to the game, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all this, and so we'll say that story for another podcast.
We'll wait. But it's just like the Cuse. I mean, the Orange Nation is it's on another level, man. And I just going to Rutgers, and we have more fans in Rutgers than they have. Just putting on that jersey, man. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you playing for your country, man. When you put that orange on, man. Right. It's something different. It really is something different. And I didn't even know I had 800 rebounds. I really didn't even know. Like if I would have played my senior, I would have got 1,000 rebounds too at 6'3". I wasn't even thinking about that. But I mean, yeah. I mean, some people don't even get those stats in 4 years and have got drafted. You know what I'm saying? Have been drafted and didn't have those final stats. But I mean, it is what it is. I hope people just remember me as somebody that always, you know, gave it my all when I stepped on the court. You know, I never cheated the game. Far as like in practice, I'm always give it 110% when the game come. I don't care if you 6'10". You know, I had to deal with checking 6'10" guys to 6 foot. It didn't matter. My best year when I was probably in position, that was when you got fortunately when you had got hurt and I moved to the 2. That was my best year. I think I was like, I made second team all Big East. People don't even remember that either. My sophomore year. But I don't know, man. The Cuse is it's on a different level, man. It really is. I don't think you really got to recruit to go to the Cuse. It's like everybody should already want to go there. To be honest with you.
What's your craziest fan experience? Because we had some time. We walking down Marshall Street, girl, whatever it is.
You know what, man? I had a really crazy one, but I always was. I was actually in Buffalo.
Okay.
I was in Buffalo. I was with all my friends, and I like to, you know me, I like to play the video games. So I was playing one of I don't know what it was, but I was playing one of the video games by myself before the food come, and somebody walked by, and he hit my head like that, and then he called me the N-word, and I was like, so I looked, and then as I looked, I'm like, you know what, that could have been another team's fan. I didn't even tell nobody I was with. I just let it go, and I'm like, yo, it ain't worth it. You know what I mean? Because some stuff's really not worth it. The people who I was with, if they was with me or I told them, that just would have got so ugly. So sometimes you just got to have self-control and just know what's worth it and what's not, man. So I knew that wasn't worth it, man. So I let it go.
Dang, I thought you was gonna hit me with a.
Nah, I really like, yo, people be feeling like that because I had braids and I wasn't like that. Like I never even was a drinker or a smoker. None of that. You know me though, E.
Bro,
I ain't really party. I really, you know what I'm saying? I ain't saying I'm an angel, but that wasn't my lane. That just, you know what I mean?
No, like what if anything, bro, I tell everybody, like, man, like the biggest heart, like the biggest jokester in the world. And I'm gonna give you, bro, tell me, do you remember this story, man? Because this was one of your pranks right here. We were in Kansas City. Remember when we won the tournament in Kansas City?
Yeah. No.
We're in Kansas City in the hotel. And somehow, bro, you get the room key to Dan Swirl's room. And for anyone who doesn't know, Dan Swirls was our equipment manager, and just shout out to Dan. Dan's a good guy, but so you get to everybody telling me like, yo, Paul's in Swirl's room hiding in the shower. Like I'm like, how did he get in the Swirl's room? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did he get in the Swirl's room? When you had to go downstairs, say something to the lady, Tell me, bro. Tell me about that prank, bro. Tell me about that story from your view.
No, man. I mean, I think I get that from my mom. My mom always was a big prankster. You know what I mean? I feel like I always like, just lighten the mood, man. Everybody should laugh, man. Everybody should find a way to laugh every day. So I just remember, like Sproles, he's funny already. I think he got mad at me because I threw my headband in the crowd, and he used to tell me, Paul, stop doing that because I'm not gonna keep giving you extra. So I threw it in the crowd, and he got mad. So I'm like, all right. So I went downstairs and I had told them I left my key in the room, my ID's in there because they wanted his ID. I'm like, my ID, left my ID, everything's in there, So they just gave me the key and I hid in the shower and he came in. I don't know, he was getting ready to wash his hands or something, and I jumped out and he just went crazy, got so scared, man. But yeah.
He's probably well, dang, Paul, what are you doing?
That's his voice, though. That's his voice. Oh, man.
So look, describe these people to me in a few words.
Gotcha.
Johnny Flynn, and give me a good Jay Flynn story.
Jay Flynn is a killer, man. The most competitive player I ever played against. Like hands down. When as far as competing, it's like I was looking in the mirror when I played Johnny one-on-one, like when we go on separate teams. It was like, I remember we were training at Attack. So we was training at Tim Grover Center in Chicago. And we were the last two there. No, it was me and us two and another guy. So the other guy, father was coming to pick him up. And me and Johnny were in there playing, but we, the language is crazy, like the fouls is crazy. And the guy told whoever was running the workout, hey man, there's some guys in there, they in there fighting. You probably want to come out here and check. Then the guy came, was like, nah, that's Johnny and Paul, man. You know what I'm saying? They close, they came together. Hey, you probably should stop that. He like, nah, this is just what they do every day. This is how they compete. But it was just like the ultimate competitor, man. Like the ultimate, man. Like you knew when you playing against Johnny, it wasn't no half stepping. You had to bring it, and the level of competition definitely rise, man. That's one of my favorite. That's like, if I had to pick a top 5 all-time Qs, which really is like a hard thing to do. You really shouldn't do it. So many greats. At the PG, I like Johnny.
He tough, bro.
And the career that GMAC have had is undeniable. But I would definitely say at the PG, I would go Pearl at the point guard position in my top 5 Qs of all time. At the 2,
I got it on my shirt.
For sure. The great. At the 2, I gotta go with none other than the only one, Mo, man. Lawrence Mo at the 2, man. I gotta put Mo.
Mouse in the house. Hey, Mo, yeah. Mouse in the house.
Yeah. He taught me one thing. He always used to say, P. Harris, man, your body is your resume. I'm like, what you talking? He said, P. Harris, your body is your resume. So I was always somebody that told me to take care of my body, man. That's gonna be my resume. And at the 3, man, you got Billy Owens, man. It'd be hard to not have him on the team. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard, but I cannot leave Melo off. Melo gotta be my 3. You know what I'm saying? I gotta put Melo at my 3. And at the 4, I don't know what position did Dave Bean play.
Nah, Dave Bean. So at the 4, you got Derek Coleman.
I know who I'm going, but I didn't mention. I wanted to shout Dave Bean out because I didn't mention him. I forgot what position he played, but he's somebody that should be on that top 5. But I gotta go with J-Dub. John Wallace definitely have to be the 4 for me, and at the 5 is none other than Derek Coleman. It's none other. So I go. Who did I say? What I say?
So you said Pearl, Mo, you got Melo, J-Dub, and then DC.
And then DC. That's my top 5.
What about when we went and played with J-Dub in Rochester that time? And he was out there playing with us.
You remember he maybe plays little, his young man.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah. Right.
You remember he made me play his young man one-on-one.
Hey, J Dub, like, man, so cool, man. Like, wouldn't even know Jay was like he was in the league for 9 years, went through all that, but man, bro, just like acting like your next door neighbor. You know what I mean?
He's real down to earth. J Dub, real down to earth.
Yeah, real down to earth. This next guy right here, bro, Chris Joseph. Now, the reason I picked Chris Joe was because it's funny, bro, and you a funny dude, man. Because they used to tell me what you did when they came as freshmen to him and Mookie Jones. You used to go tell them like, "Yo, coach said we got to go play one-on-one in the dome," and it'd be like 11:30 at night or something, or like something crazy. You know what I mean? And they'd be like, they just coming in, they'd be like, "Yo, for real?" Like, yeah. Yo, tell me about Chris Joe and those late night one-on-one games.
Nah, Chris Joe, man, like to this day, man, that's he's one of my favorites. He's one of the guys that I still stay in contact with right now, man. I like all love to Chris Joe, man. Yeah, he came in, I think it might have been him and Mookie. They're coming together?
I think so.
Yeah, but I remember it was like 12:30 at night. This was the time where we were in Manly.
You're right.
So we had to I don't remember how we used to get a car in it. We did the garage lift something.
Left the garage open or had a swipe?
Yeah, it was something where that lift up. So we used to have that. It wasn't no light sometime, and we would have two cars like right on the court, and we'd be just playing one-on-one. Like I was just trying to build, a love and dedication and let them know, like, if you really trying to get to that level, there's just certain things you got to do. So I would go get Scoop, Chris Joe, Johnny, and I would make them run. And one person would have come though. Who you think that was? If you had to think, like, I didn't know who you think.
Rick.
It was Rick. It was Rick, yo. Rick was never with. He'd be like, Doug, man, I know you just playing. I ain't doing none of that. No, man, stop knocking on my door at 2:00 in the morning. It was pouring rain at East, so I get all of them. We all go to the football field, and we just did like 100-yard sprints, yo. And it was just like, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to just build that love and that people don't understand, like, like most people feel like you need to study your opponent more than you study your team, but that's really not true. You need to study your team. Like, I need to know, like, okay, like, if this person on my team don't touch the ball in 5 possessions, I need to know, like, how their body language is going to be. So I need to know, like, okay, maybe he needs a touch. He might not need a shot, but he needs a touch to know that he's still feel involved in the game. And how do I push him? How do I get him going? So just learning your teammates is more important than learning your opponents. That's just how I feel. And I feel like a lot of people think that you got to study film against your opponents. You do, don't get me wrong, but know your PG, know your center, know your, like, you know what I'm saying? Know what makes them tick. Like, what can I say to him? But I may not be able to say this to my PG. So I got to say something good to my point guard first and then let him know, yo, nah, you probably should. And now he's going to gravitate towards me. But with my center, I can come right to him. Yo, man, you could go up. What's up? That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? And people don't understand that. That's the certain things that young kids need to understand and learn that too at an early age.
No, I think, and that makes a lot of sense, because that's where the chemistry comes in, right? When you guys start to know how each other tick, like, okay, this right here gonna piss him off. Right here, this gonna get him going. You know what I mean? So like you said, it makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of people, need to take more into that, about knowing your teammates and knowing, what gets each other going and what,
like you, E, like one thing I think people don't understand, they may do understand, but this is for the people who don't. Like, you was a gym rat, though. You was somebody who would, like, you know what I'm saying? You was like me, who would play anywhere. Like, you would play at the park. you play, you know what I'm saying, after practice, before, like you was one of those dudes you really was a gym rat, and you had a love for the game. That was something that I always respected about you. And like you somebody who wouldn't play 2-on-2, whatever it was. Like if you hooping, wherever we got to drive 30 minutes, call E, man, he gonna come. He one of those people. So like you always had that too, E, and I always appreciated that.
Man, no, it's all
Because
good.
everybody don't have that, man. I don't care. It's just everybody. Some people was pushed to play and they got good or they were tall, and you know what I'm saying. But it's very few that just love it and maximize their potential.
And I think and I love, you know, playing with you, playing against you, and we had our battles, bro. Like in the summer.
Yeah, we did.
Bro, like, look, remember, like, we got into it. Like, I mean, I got into it with Johnny before, but I like, let's be real, bro. Like, if you see me and then you see you, like, you whooping me. Like, if we try, like, let's get this straight. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to get what I can, but I ain't winning. You know what I'm saying?
You brought this up. I didn't bring this up. You brought it up. You said you went there, but that I never forget. I was a freshman. And it was you. D-Nick.
Yeah.
Who else? It was three. Was it Andy? I don't know.
It was me, you, D-Nick, and then we was playing 2-on-2. Or it might have been King of the Court.
We was playing threes. It was you, D-Nick, and somebody else versus me, Mike Jones, and whoever was young.
Devin Brandon McBride?
It might have been Devin. We might have had Devin, yes. So you know what I'm saying? It might have been you, Terrence, and D-Nick probably. So y'all playing, and y'all whooping us, though, E. I'm like, y'all, you know what I'm saying, like 11-2 type. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, E is E. And one thing everybody know the world know about E, E gonna talk some stuff, yo. That's just, you know what I'm saying? That's just E. And you know what I'm saying? He gonna let you hear it. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather him be on my team than against that, because E gonna get a bucket. I don't care where it's at. E gonna get a bucket. But he was like going off, yo. He was like, yeah, B. You know what I mean? He was all, I'm like, yo, E, man, chill, man. Stop all that. Yeah. Y'all can't score nothing. And then like me and E, we got into it.
Well, bro, that's like you said, the competitive, like you talk about Johnny's competitiveness, your competitive, my competitive, like that, you really know we love the game. If you going that hard for something, you don't gotta be, if you're going that hard for something, anything, you gotta feel some type of way. You gotta have a passion and a love for it. And I think like a lot of times, you know, people misunderstand it because they can't relate to it. Like they don't know like how hard we work growing up. You know what I'm saying? And like when we're going through this, like, you know, what it takes. And it's kind of like we're all just letting that out. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes, you know, people can misunderstand those things. And, you know, it is what it is, but I wouldn't have changed it.
No, I mean, it's emotional. Basketball is an emotional sport, man. You know what I'm saying? That happens all the time, man, all the time. And I think people look at the ones that don't have that emotion and like, you know, they're not a leader. Like some people look at like Tim Duncan, but people don't understand there's different leaders. There's vocal leaders. There's people who lead by action, by doing. And like Kevin Garnett, you know, he's somebody that's vocal, but Tim Duncan is somebody that's gonna be at practice early. He's gonna dress appropriate. You know, that's different type of leaders. You know, so just because you saw a kid out there, somebody who doesn't yell, who doesn't scream in practice, like I'm a vocal and emotional leader. But it's other ways that you can find out how you lead, and people will follow your lead if you lead in the correct way.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So you talked about it a little bit earlier. You played in the Philippines, but you also played in Turkey, France, I think Italy. Did you spend some time in Italy, and then Puerto Rico as well, right?
Dominican Republic. That was way early.
Dominican Republic. I knew you were out there. One of us. Tell me about, because again, from Niagara Falls. I mean, did you ever think you would be traveling the world to play basketball, getting paid money, being able to show your family, you know, all these things? How did that change you, man? Just traveling the world, seeing different cultures. What did it do for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, E. I really like coming from where I'm from, you know, like going on vacation or out of town is like, you know, going to Buffalo, going to Syracuse, you know, that's what that is. But to being able to go to Italy. That I used to hear about Italy and France, you know, off of Wheel of Fortune. Somebody want a trip. Like nobody I know like going to those places, like really. So to be able to travel the world like that and just see different cultures, the best thing about that was my kids being able to travel. And at a young age, they were like sponges, you know what I'm saying? Soaking all that up, you know what I'm saying? Just Mason being able to learn French at an early age, you know, understanding Turkish, you know what I'm saying? That was the most amazing thing. And now when I see them at school, you know, they friends are, they have Turkish friends, people, different cultures, you know what I'm saying? They don't just stick with one race. They're able to connect with all different parts, all different races, you know? So that was big. That was the most important thing to me.
And you know what? Everyone's journey is different, right? And you got to think about, you know, you may not get drafted. I didn't get drafted. A lot of people didn't get drafted who might have. And look, we should have got drafted. Let's put that out there, because the talent is there, the skill level is there, but everybody's journey is their own. And if you didn't go through those things, if you weren't able to, you know, if you did get drafted, and now it would have been a whole different journey. You might not have had, you know, your kids, and you might not have been able to take them to, you know, overseas and experience that culture for that amount of time. You might have been able to travel, but you're spending 7-8 months over in a whole different country. So I always tell people, man, like, there's not a lot of people who get to travel the world and get paid to travel the world. You know what I mean? So I just think it's a blessing to have those experiences, man. And I keep going back to, you know, saying where you're from, Niagara Falls, because I'm from a little town too, 40,000 people, Bay City, Michigan. Not a lot of people get to, like you said, going out of town is going to Detroit. You know what I mean? Which is like an hour and 15 minutes away. That's a big city. You know what I mean? For someone like us to get on a plane and go over to Italy or go to Istanbul, like, that's life changing, man. So like we really got to take, you know, those experiences and look at them like, damn, man, like, I'm lucky, man. I'm blessed. For me to be able to see this, for my family to be able to see this, is pretty awesome.
And I get, and for me, I'm not a person, I'm not like a person that regrets nothing. You know, it happened because I believe the man above made it happen the way it was supposed to happen. So I don't go back and be like, yo, would I change this, or would you do this? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It was supposed to happen. It shaped me and made me the person I am today. And it made me connect and meet the people that I met today, and influence and inspire the people that I inspired. So I really won't go back and say that I would change this or change that. I mean, I'm happy with how things turned out and the person that I have grown to become. And I would say, like, for somebody coming up that may have to take the overseas route, one thing that I have learned, and I was able to learn it early, right off the bat when I went to the Philippines, is you're going over to these places and you have to be willing to adjust to the people, to the culture over there. A lot of people, I have seen it, a lot of people expect the people in the other country to adjust to you. And it's like, nah, man, you over there. You thousands of miles away. We're not going to adjust. So just going with that open mind, like if you go to anywhere, Italy, France, wherever it may be, that just go over there and adjust to the different situations over there instead of having them adjust to you. So I used to go into some stores, and it was like, you know, in Turkey, they didn't speak English. So I'm looking for like sugar and I got salt in my hand, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, I'm patient enough to like, yo, we're going to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it was. Like, my coach didn't speak English. It was all right. You know what I'm saying? I started to understand and learn body language. You know what I'm saying? Learning what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to have an open mind. And I see a lot of players go over to these places and they start thinking that they are bigger than, you know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, man, that ain't how you last. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. And I've seen it. And that's just why I was able to play 7-8 years in these different parts of the world, because I was just always just adjusting to the culture that I'm with. that I was in.
That's great advice too. Go over there with an open mind. You know, going over there right away with your mindset, like on how this how it's gonna be, and expect that could be you setting yourself up for failure. You know what I mean? You got to go over there with an open mind and just kind of go with the flow, I guess, so to speak, right?
Yeah, because like in the Philippines, man, like in the Philippines, is you're allowed one American. So you're allowed one American on the team, which some of these guys already are Americans, but like they have Filipino, half, you know, so they here, but then they go over to the Philippines. So you go over there, you're allowed one on per team. So you get and you playing like 40-some minutes, you maybe getting 40 points. Some people be dropping 50s. And you feel, I have seen players feel like they were just all that and they bigger than the team. And it's like, yo, you got to realize after these 3 months, you leaving, all of these players staying, the owners staying. These owners are billionaires. Like, if you get out of hand, they will just pay you and ship you on. It's like, so I just always went over there and was like, yo, like, whatever they wanted us to do, whether it was dinners, everything was just family oriented. So it helped me so much, like in my life right now, going to the Philippines.
Yeah, and too, like, buy into the culture, learn about a different culture, like learn how it's different from you. Like you said, you going into their country, like have an open mind, learn about, you know, the differences and maybe the similarities. And I think, like you said, bro, it'll help you in your growth as a person, you know. And I'm sure you know, been over there and you know, seen a lot of things that may have humbled you. You know what I mean? Like, see, I remember I was over in Manila and I've seen families with living under bridges, like long, you know what I'm saying? So like, it just all your experiences you could take in and just learn from everything, you know?
No, you man, you hit it on the nose, man. I remember like when I first got to the Philippines. So I was by myself at the time. My wife think nobody came with me first month. So I was telling my driver like, yo, I want to just go all around Manila. So he taking me, he driving me, and then one time like, yo, I want to go to the inner city. He like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm like the hood. He like, what do you mean? I'm like, where do you live? Like, he like, no, I can't. I'm like, nah, just take me. So I go there, and it was like a little village, and it was like 2 people on the court. So I get out. I made sure I brought like 5 pairs of sneakers. You know what I mean? All shirts. Just a lot of things to give away. So by the time I start hooping, yo, it's like 300 people came down, and it was like, yo, it was just the best thing, just seeing that, man, and just, you know what I'm saying, that love. Like everybody needs like that certain energies, man, to keep you going, and they kept me going, man.
No, absolutely. And bro, like you've impacted and inspired more people than you know. I've seen your posts on Instagram, you know, going up to random people, just like bringing that positive energy to them. And we touched on, you know, working with the freshmen coming in, Chris, Joe, and Mookie, and I know that impacted them because they still talk about it today. Like, yo, I remember when Paul did that, and like little things, bro, like going out to give shoes, whatever it may be, like that impacts people more than you know. Like that could, you know, make that person, you know, motivate that person to go do something great because you spark something inside of them. And I've seen like, and that's one thing I know about you, bro. Like you got one of the biggest hearts, and you impacted and inspired a lot of people. But what's next, man? Like what's next for you? Like I know you still playing. You know, you got a family, you got beautiful children. You're an awesome husband, an awesome dad. What's next for you? What do you want to do? What do you see yourself doing?
Right now, man, I'm just I don't know, man. I'm just trying to follow the path that the man above had for me, man. My prayers is that I connect with the right people, and you know, right certain situations, things that happen. It'll happen how they're supposed to happen. You know, that's just how I look at it. You know, I would love to have my own gym, start my own academy or something like that. But I know it's going to happen at the time and that it's supposed to happen. So I'm not rushing into nothing. And when it happens, you know, everybody hear about it and it'll be something big.
No, absolutely. I know you still working out, you still staying in shape, you still like you said, You want to have your own academy. You, bro, like you impacting and you inspiring people, man. Just, I'm watching you from afar, and you inspire me just, by your positive acts and all the little acts of kindness that you do. So I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate you coming on. Any last thing that you want to say for the Q fans?
Nah, I really, this probably like, yo, to be honest with you, E, in the last, I don't even know, since what is it, 09? Yeah, since like 09 to 6 OT game, I probably did like maybe 4, 5 interviews. Like I did with Chris Joe, I did you, and I did my man from Buffalo. Probably like one news long time ago, but I haven't done it. But you know what I'm saying? You reached out to me though, E, like, you know what I'm saying? You somebody who I rock with, man, and I feel like what you're doing, this is gonna be big, yo. This platform that you're building is gonna take off. I know it, man. You just gotta believe it and keep saying it. You're gonna get the right people on there, man. I hope this thing really take off, man. I wish you the best as well, man, E. And thanks for reaching out, man, to the Q's fans, man. Yo, I love y'all, and I know I was supposed to play in the TBT the last couple years. One of these times, I'm going to get out there, yo. Tell Eric he got to pass me the ball, though. E, better pass me the ball.
I got you, bro. Look, we going to make sure we get you on the squad and make that happen, bro. But, again, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's definitely all love, and, we're going to stay in touch, and hopefully we can do it again next time.
All right, E. All
right, bro. Appreciate you, man. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening to our podcast with Syracuse legend Paul Harris. Make sure everyone goes, subscribes, and leaves a review anywhere you guys can get your podcasts. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll be back at it again next week.